Hey, good morning, everybody. This morning's gospel text is Matthew chapter 25. We're beginning at verse 31 and taking it to the end of the chapter. This is one of Jesus's most well-known parables, and perhaps one that causes us the greatest degree of heartburn. It's frequently titled the Final Judgment. Jesus describes a scene where the Son of Man returns, the second coming being described here, with all of his angels. He sits upon the throne as king, clearly, and then divides the earth's population into two groups, the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is Jesus' problem with goats? This is a parable, and so he's using the stereotypical personalities of these two animals to make his point. Let's think about it for a second. Goats, they tend to be fiercely independent, stubborn, selfish. Sheep, on the other hand, they tend to be, well, innocent, maybe even naive, faithful followers. And in that vein, if you've ever looked at sheep, say, in a petting zoo, they tend to clump together. They walk around and they're actually physically touching as they move around through the farm. Goats, on the other hand, they like their space. They're still technically herding animals, but they want to have a little bit of space between them and the next. And I think this might be the imagery that Jesus is thinking of as he goes on to tell the rest of this parable. He says to those on his right hand that they are going to inherit the kingdom of heaven that has been prepared for them. And he explains immediately why in verse 35 when he says, "For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me into your home. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me." The righteous will say to Jesus, "When did any of this ever happen?" And his reply is, "As you've done to the least of my brothers and sisters, you've done it to me." Well, we know how the parable goes if you've read it. He now turns to the unrighteous, those on his left, the goats. And he says that when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was thirsty and you didn't give me a drink. I was naked, you did not clothe me, and you didn't visit me when I was in prison. And they answered the same way, "When did this ever happen? When did we ever have the chance to do that?" And he says the same, "As you've done to the least of my brothers and sisters, you've done to me." Our call as followers of Jesus Christ is to share the good news with absolutely everyone, to be innocent as we share that message, to gather people together, to love on them no matter who they are. Goats, like I said, tend to be independent and a bit selfish. They tend to discriminate. That is not the call for this message. This message is the message of hope and grace for everyone. We are called to love even our enemies and to reach out to them when they are in need. That is the good news of Jesus Christ, that no matter who you are, that message is meant for you. And we, as ministers carrying that message into this world, have to remember that. We have the privilege of sharing God's love, to represent him as a part of the body of Christ. So let us go out then and do exactly that, sharing love with absolutely everyone, no discrimination. And in doing so, not only do we bring hope and life to others, but we secure our place in God's kingdom. Go and have a great day shining the light of God's love in the world.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.